And people who come late, they just come late. So I will give a small context because it's going to go back. We're here with the link convergence. It's part of a program we're doing, Lumia and me, VP and Lunaret as a part of an Erasmus Plus project. And one of the goals is to create connections. Yes, to create connections with people who live in different kinds of peripheral settings, be it rural, be it just because of the country they live in, because it is far away from everywhere, or anything that makes you feel peripheral. Yeah, and lonely, because we saw there is a lot of loneliness in this. So this is all about this. And now Lumia, as part of our project planning, is going to share a bit of marketing, because marketing was also part of the project. And with this, I give over to Lumia, and also remind again, if you can have the camera on, Lumia will be thankful, but because she will see your faces, the faces you make when you don't understand or you like something and stuff like this. And this kind of feedback is really useful when talking. Okay, now Lumia, your turn.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm sorry, me again. It was just the way this week was timed. So if you just saw me and Dominic doing the other mini presentation, but yeah, after this I'll be out of your way. We have really cool sessions coming in later. But yeah, like Kathy was saying, we one of the reasons we wanted to do the Link project was also to improve our own capacities of our own small organizations, and definitely sharing information on how we communicate about our projects or do marketing in that sense was an important part of our work. So I did a tiny presentation of a bit about ethical marketing, generally how I see it, and then how we used it in the Link project. So let's see. I'm just sharing my screen. Can you see something? Yes, wonderful. Okay. So ethical marketing case link project. So yes, who am I and why am I talking about marketing? Well, that was my first degree and my first business, so to say. It was a few years back, so 20-ish, but I do have a Bachelor of Business Administration in marketing. And well, since then, life has brought me on different paths. Um, for example, being the Link project manager along with Kathy. Yes, and I've always been this little green person, and also about over 10 years ago, I got interested in permaculture. And what is still happening today is I am working as an entrepreneur for almost 10 years now um, in my and Dominic's ethical marketing and sustainable website agency, like website agency as entrepreneurs. It's called Chase and Snow, and yeah, we work mostly in Finland, but of course we can help clients everywhere. So I do know a little bit of this, and when I was starting to look at like what is ethical marketing and like what is the standard definition of it today, I came across terms like transparent, fair, and it avoids misleading claims, and it's about responsibility. And I was like, okay, yeah, nice. Like, isn't this like it's supposed to be like this? Like, is this like something special? Of course, we all know unethical marketing. I guess we've seen it over and over again, pushy techniques and like blatant lies or just making believe. No? But I guess still to call something ethical, I would want it to be a bit more than just avoiding misleading claims. No? So I brought the permaculture thinking into the marketing also. So permaculture, if you're not familiar with it, it's a way of thinking and working with nature. And at its core, there are some ethics, no? Just which have been, which in short can be said as earth care, people care, and fair share, or in longer, earth care, people care, and limits of resource use and consumption. So basically puts in into the heart and center of everything that we do, the care of the earth, care of people, and the limits, the planetary limits that we must respect when doing anything, no, really, if we want to live sustainably and hopefully do some regenerative action too. So I was then thinking like, okay, yeah, sure, it has to be, marketing has to be honest and fair and transparent and respect the client's privacy and be respectful to customers. But it's like, is that really it? Like, can't we do anything better? So I was like saying, okay, of course it should promote sustainable products and services, and it should be respectful to everyone involved, not just the customers. Be as sustainable as possible, and of course then use the resources wisely. And yeah, this is definitely something that, like, I mean, it's obvious, no? But I guess it needs to be said nowadays. So what we did with the Link project, well, this is again just a tiny slide on what was the Link project. Our goal was to improve the organizational capacity of of the partners, so Vihreä Pourusmäki and Lunared, and then empower the community members by teaching and tutoring them, creating this new network of peers, and then facilitate wider knowledge dissemination to inspire and guide similar organizations. And this convergence is definitely about creating the network and facilitating the dissemination. So yeah, what we then had in mind when we starting to think about the communication, how can we reach the people that would benefit from the project and from participating in it. No, so we had this special, or like these specific actions that we did. We had 2 retreats, so like 2 physical events, one in Finland and one on the Canary Islands last summer. And then there was tutoring offered. Then the Creating Connections network. I'll post a link to that again in the chat very soon. And then, of course, this convergence. So these were kind of the actions that we wanted to reach people, that they could hear about these actions and join them if they felt called to. And then we were thinking like, okay, who do we want to talk to? Well, of course, our current community members, so people who are already familiar with what we do and have been at that course, done some tutoring in the past or something. And the people then on the edges of these communities, so friends of friends, so to say. Then generally all kinds of people searching for solutions for a more sustainable world. The community leaders and practitioners of sustainability actions, and then of course also the wider community, everyone who could be interested in these topics. And yeah, so what kind of tools did we use to reach the people, physical tools? Well, the first thing we did is the website. No, so the website, we had pages for the retreats, a page for the Creating Connections network, information about it, and how to sign up. And well, the Convergence website, I'm pretty sure you might have visited it. Well, you must have visited it if you have joined this event. No? So you've found some information there about what these actions were and what the project was. And then, of course, the community and the peers, not just talking to people face to face or through some other tools. And the networking, and then general social media type of, we have a message and we push it out into the world in that way also. So yeah. if I reflect on what we did with these values or with these ways of working that we saw in earlier, I would say I think we've done a pretty good job, no? So we've definitely tried to be honest about what the project is, try to be truthful about its limits and resources. You know, this is not a $1 million operation that we have people working on this all the time. It's worked on voluntary basis. So, and we all start where we are. So it's not like a solution for all the problems in the world or something. Yeah, for fairness, we wanted to listen to our needs also, and of course the needs of the community. And also, what I think is very important is to share the work fairly. So not so that no one has to carry more than they can, and then also that everyone kind of feels that they are contributing in a way that it's possible for them or that they want to. Yeah, we definitely try to limit any unfair practices, you know, like manipulating or lying or, you know, tricking someone to doing into anything. That's, I guess, very basic, but I guess it needs to be said. And then, yeah, for equity and access, so to say that everyone, when we were inviting people to come to our events and to this network, you know, that we try to be as open and fair as possible, you know, not limiting anyone's access due to lack of language skills maybe or technical skills or something. Of course, it's not always possible, given the resources especially, but I think at least we tried. Yeah, and for the transparency, openness, well, yeah, the website, well, coming from a website agency, you know, I'm always, you know, talking about the importance of a website. You know, you cannot build anything on rented property. You cannot build any sustainable operation or sustainable marketing campaign on social media or some platform that someone else owns. You know, if you want to work it sustainably in that sense that it's not just for one event or, you know, for 1 month or whatever. No, you need to have something that's a bit more there. No, and yeah, we were definitely trying to be open and transparent. Like, this is what's happening. We think you might enjoy this, or if you think you might enjoy this, if we don't know you yet, you're very welcome to join. I think that was at least the message that we were trying to get across. And yes, of course, privacy, you know, we respect all data very highly and we'll never share it with anyone that's not authorized. And we are using EU hosted tools whenever possible. So I guess the baseline was okay. And yeah, well, promoting sustainability, the whole idea of Link is to promote sustainability. So I do think we kind of score high there. And the resource use, well, if you listen to the previous presentation, Dominic was talking about how we build our websites, so they are as like lean in resource use as humanly possible. And yeah, when we were doing the events, for example, we designed one retreat, and then we did a little bit of modifications for the country's special needs. But we could do that. We could take that retreat, and we want to take that retreat out of the box again, and maybe just do a few tweaks, and then we're just good to go. So we were trying to, in all operations, build these structures that last and we can use again. And I guess we did that also definitely in marketing. For example, these marketing materials, we created some like basic backgrounds and then we could kind of pretty fast update them to for example, the sessions here. No? So we did a one background, and then we updated the session information to all of them. So it was quite fast. We didn't need to do everything from scratch. And yeah, I guess respecting everyone, I think that comes with the territory. But yeah, listening, and trying to take everyone into consideration, and really offering people to come as they are, so they don't need to put on some face or do some kind of role. That I think, for me personally, I find that very tiring. Yeah. Okay. So what did we do well, or what could we improve? Yeah, I think the website front and center is very important, and I think we've done it quite well. I think the website is rather practical, and I'm hoping it will be very long lived. No matter what happens to the project after the actual funding period ends, I do hope that we will have um, something to remember the project by, and maybe if we get it continued, of course, it will continue to serve the community. And we tried using alternative social media tools like Blue Sky. That didn't really quite take off, but at least it was a good run. The networking, peer sharing, it's going nicely, and it's definitely, like, for this convergence, for example, it was so lovely. We just did the materials and publicized the program, and then the people started sharing it, which was really nice to get the word to the friends of friends, as I mentioned. And yeah, I guess we are definitely concentrating on what we can, and building on the skills we have. And what we couldn't do, we still very highly reliant on these corporate monoculture tools like the Meta channels and Zoom. $1 million businesses, $1 billion businesses that gives a rat ass about people's privacy or sustainability topics. But that's the way it is. I think sometimes we're stretching ourselves too thin. We're not quite there to kind of respect our own limits. But I get this often happens, I guess. But it's it's no excuse. And I think the peer sharing still could have been more effective. We could have still been more clear in our communications about, please share about this event. Please invite your peers. Please invite your colleagues. We did have a good amount of sign-ups, but it could have been even. It could have reached more people, or more of the right people, so to say. Okay, my last slide. Just a few tips, essentials, to-dos that I could share now, having learned from some of the Link project. Well, of course, it's important to know what you're doing, so you can communicate about it clearly. And yes, and then what you do, if you want to do ethical marketing, what you do, it needs to be ethical. So to make sure that kind of the work is there first. And then the skeleton, so to say, like on what structure will you build your marketing? I recommend the website. Of course, it can be something different depending on the project. But yeah, it's important. If you just do a little bit here and there without having a kind of a structure or a skeleton on which you can build your marketing and communications operations, it gets very overwhelming and often quite confusing. Then definitely do bring in the networks and the peers and encourage, or even push them a bit to share about your events, especially if it's something that you would need to reach lots of people for. And yeah, just do what you can, no? And don't stretch yourself too thin. This is, as all operations are quite, you can get very deep into them, but don't spread yourself too thin. All right, that's it. Yeah, wonderful. I'm just on time. Thank you very much for listening. If there's any questions, comments, I'd love to take those.